Hey guys, what's up? Bethesda is back in the news again today for yet another thing that's pissed people off. And I want to talk about this because I love bashing Bethesda all day long. I love doing it. Like, it really, at this point, it's a hobby for me. I just enjoy it, to be honest. But in this case, I don't really see the reason for the outrage. And we're going to walk through this. We're going to talk about it step by step. We're going to look at the very simple and reasonable legal argument that is being put forward that just makes sense. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the overall impact and whether or not this was worth pursuing. So straight up, Bethesda has blocked the sale of a second-hand game. So basically an individual purchased a copy of The Evil Within 2 and never played it. And so it's still like wrapped in the cellophane. It's still new, never opened it, never used it. It's still new, quote unquote. Like new, as we would say, which is the listing you normally would list that product as on Amazon. But nonetheless, we'll get to that. So it's basically new. He's never used it. So he went on Amazon. He said, I'm never going to get around to playing this, so I'm going to sell it on Amazon. And when he was filling out the product description, as you do on Amazon, when you're selling a product that you own, it asks you for the condition. You can list it as new, like new. I think it's officially listed currently as used - like new, or used slight wear, used damaged, like all of these different tiers. And this individual who owned the game listed it as new because in his mind he had never used it. It wasn't used like new. It was new. He had never messed with it. So he listed it, and shortly thereafter he got a letter, basically a cease and desist from Bethesda's lawyers, or at least a law firm that works with Bethesda, who said, you got to cut this out because this is not a brand new copy of the game. You're not an authorized reseller. You can't sell it as new because that's false advertising. When people buy a new copy of the game, quote unquote new, they expect certain things, and those things cannot be provided from an unauthorized reseller. Things such as warranty guarantees, such as guarantees of the quality of the product. If you receive the disc and it's damaged, you can take it back to that authorized reseller. They'll replace it for you. Things like that. So it was very simple and straightforward, but this whole thing spiraled out of control because effectively what happened is this individual went to gaming publications and journalists and started creating a fuss, and then this turned into a whole big thing. Now, I'm sure that this has happened many times before, and these lawyers contact these individuals and they just kind of roll over and say, okay, fine, I'll just list it as used and get $5 less for it, whatever. And I'm sure that's what happens all the time. I'm sure this is just the first time we're hearing about it. So at this point, it snowballed into a whole big thing. And effectively, what's kind of hilarious about this is that the individual who owned this copy of the game that's selling it on Amazon claimed that the first sale doctrine would be protected, and therefore he should be allowed to sell the copy of this game. Now, I like in school, I'm currently studying law, so this is like my bread and butter. I love this stuff. I know it's like nerdy, like who enjoys this? I actually kind of do. So when I heard this was intriguing at the very least, because let's look into this. What is the first sale doctrine? Well, basically the first sale doctrine is a law that basically makes it so that if you are not the owner of a copyright or of a trademarked work, you can still sell it. So like, for instance, if I own a book or if I own a vinyl record, like Michael Jackson's Thriller, I don't own the rights to Michael Jackson's Thriller, but I can still sell that vinyl because it would fit under the first sale doctrine. I can still sell it even though I don't own the copyright for that. I can still sell the product. Because I can own the product and then sell it. But there are caveats to that rule. It's not just one and done. I can't go and start selling MP3s of Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's different. So it's not just one and done. It's not simple, which is what the lawyers pointed out. Basically, Bethesda's response to this, or the law firm's response to this was, quote, under... or this is an article through eBay rather, through the law firm that Bethesda is working with. They said, quote, under what is known as the first sale doctrine, once a trademarked owner or the company sells a product, the buyer ordinarily can resell the product without infringing the owner's mark. However, the first sale doctrine does not apply when a reseller sells a trademarked good that is materially different from the company's genuine goods. Case law has established a few important principles relating to material differences. This includes that 1, the threshold of materiality is considered low. 2, only a single material difference is necessary to give rise to a trademark infringement claim. And 3, material differences do not have to be physical differences. End quote. And effectively what this means is that if the product is different from the one that the company is selling, that can create issues. And what the issue is here is that the product that this individual is selling on Amazon as new is not the same product as you would be buying from Bethesda or from Best Buy or from Amazon directly, from Target, from any authorized reseller. And I know what you're thinking. Well, it's just a video game. You plug the disc in. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Well, that's very, very narrow, because when we're talking about these games, there are warranties that most people never really have to deal with or think about, but those warranties are guaranteed through resellers that are authorized, such as if you open the box and the disc is cracked or damaged or scratched, you can take it back to that reseller. They will replace it, send the broken one back to the distributor of the game, and you don't have to worry about a thing. You're guaranteed that protection. If you play through the game and the disc is corrupted, you're covered, and you're not just out the money that you spent. If you buy a copy that had pre-order bonuses included, like for instance, I bought a used copy of Batman Arkham City back in the day, which on the box claimed to have like the Catwoman DLC package or whatever. That was a pre-order bonus through select resellers. I bought the thing used. It was advertised as used, and I didn't get the code for that particular piece of content. So I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer, but I got it used, so it wasn't guaranteed to me. If I bought that new and I still didn't get it, I would be upset, because I would have the expectation that what was advertised under what is considered a fully new product would be given to me. And in this case, this individual, he's never opened the game, but he can't guarantee those things. He can't guarantee that if the disc is damaged or has any issues, he can replace it. He isn't working with Bethesda. So in that sense, there is a material difference. It doesn't have to be physical. It looks new in box, but intellectually, in terms of the warranties and all that stuff, it is a materially different product. Because when you buy a video game, it's not just the disc, it's not just the code. You're buying the services, you're buying the support, you're buying the warranty, you're buying all of that stuff along with it. So with all of this, bared in mind, whatever the word would be, I do find this a really interesting defense. I don't think that this is worth the guy's time. Like I said, it would probably be like a $5 difference to actually pursue, or to just roll over and do what they're asking you to do. I don't think it's worth all of the stress he's putting into this, but nonetheless, he is, and good on him for fighting what he believes is right. I do understand people's frustration. I do understand why people are saying this seems like an overreach by Bethesda. They're clamping down on used game sales. Like, just get off of it. It doesn't matter. And I do agree with that. Legally, Bethesda's right, and this guy should not be selling it as a new copy. Same way that if you buy a car and you drive it off of the lot, the second that you sign your name on that piece of paper, on that dotted line, the car's value drops by thousands and thousands of dollars. Just because it enters into your possession, it's no longer new. Even if you signed the piece of paper and instantly got on your phone and sold it to a buddy of yours, it doesn't matter. You still owned it. It's therefore pre-owned. It's no longer new, because it entered into your possession when you signed that dotted line. Same thing with the video game. It technically isn't new. It's still pre-owned. Even if he never touched it, even if he never used it, it's still pre-owned. So legally, Bethesda is right. Is this worth their time? Absolutely not. I don't know why they're doing this for a game that didn't sell very well to begin with, and that nobody really cares about anymore. It's completely drifted off the map, and nobody's really watching it. Now they're looking at it. Now people are talking about it just because Bethesda screwed up with this. And this is why, like, the classic distinction, just because you can do something legally doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can pursue certain charges or whatever doesn't mean you should, because often it's not going to be worth your time. It just isn't. And I don't think even necessarily Bethesda ordered this. A lot of the time these law firms are on retainer. They just are sitting around waiting to do stuff. And then they just will pursue, like Bethesda will pay a law firm a certain amount per month to monitor and retain their trademarks and copyright value. And so these companies will just look around like on YouTube and on resellers and all this stuff to maintain it. And they'll file these pieces of paper. Bethesda never has to even think about it. And my guess is that's what's happened here. I don't think this was necessarily something Bethesda sought out, like the Softworks portion of Bethesda sought out. I think this was just something that happened. Bethesda's like, well, this happens all the time. We're just telling this guy you can't sell something as new when you previously owned it. That's not a crazy controversial thing, but instead it's been blown out of proportion, and it's looking like, we're trying to say that he's trying to sell a brand new product, and Bethesda is blocking them for that. That's not what's happening. He's selling a pre-owned product as new, which is technically false advertising by US law, even if like the spirit of it is still new. Like, yeah, he didn't use it, so it's basically new, but basically new is not new, and that's Bethesda's point. So I kind of back Bethesda up on this. I get why people are upset, but I don't think that it's worthy. I think this is kind of a stupid reason to be upset. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below, because for me, it's just like a non-starter. I just don't understand why we're freaking out about it. There's no real issue here. The guy should have just said, okay, yeah, you're right, I'll sell it for $5 less, and moved on with his day. But instead, we're blowing this up, making it seem like Bethesda is starting the end of used game resells like Xbox actually wanted to do back in 2013. That's not what's happening here. And to pretend that is what's happening is grossly disingenuous, and anybody who's peddling that sort of narrative should be ashamed of themselves, because that's just a blatant lie. So I'm telling you straight up, as somebody who loves bashing Bethesda, I actually don't see the issue here. I think they're actually in the right, and I don't understand why people are so upset. But I do want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Maybe I'm off my keister, but it seems like an open and shut legal question to me. I don't really see why we have to beat around the bush and pretend like the world is ending, because it's just not. It's just not. But let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to hang out with us on the live show, we're going to be starting that back up starting on Wednesday of this week, and after that it's going to be a regularized thing on Wednesdays. We're going to be live streaming Talk Gaming, so you can hang out with me live, talk about these topics live, and have a lot of fun in the process. So check that out. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace out. Bye-bye. I'll see you.